today's extra babbly Winfest called August 4th, 2026, the Boardroom Buy-In Game. Yeah. Which nobody asked for.
No, literally, no. That's the game, the least. That's like, it wouldn't even make it on the Games Network. Like, nobody would care.
Our show, well, I'll tell you who would care. Our sponsor. Our show today is being sponsored by FreeFlowAnalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power connections and performance for free. And
No, they do that. That's
2.0 is about to be launched. I know it's already in beta testing. I use it daily.
So it's important that people know that there's two versions. There's a pay version and a free version. The free version is 250 companies, the
Still a
largest
lot.
companies, and the pay version you've got portfolio analytics and stuff like that. And if you want the paid version, if you're just like a person, we can set you up. And
If you as opposed to who
as
else is
opposed to
listening?
like
bread boxes and
like if you're
armadillos?
Vanguard, right? And
Oh, okay.
you have ignored the fact that we
Yeah.
make fun of you on every show, and
No,
you've
we-
decided that you want real data,
we make fun out
then
of,
we
it's out of
charge you.
love. It's out of love.
we charge you for real data. But if you're just like a guy named, Gus,
Edgar?
and you're like, you know what I really want? I really want data on like some mid-cap Japanese company. Yeah, we can.
Well, they
work-
do. We
work
know
it
people
out.
do.
We
We
can
know
work it
people
out.
do want
That's all I'm
stuff like
saying.
that.
We can work it out.
And that's actually a good lead into this game because we're still trying to figure out the kinks of this game. But what we're trying to do here is attach people and headlines to whether you want to be a part of this company, whether you want to be an investor, whether you want to be a whatever,
That's
a
what we're
believer,
doing?
consumer, a
A
protester. I don't
believer.
know.
We're looking for believers. That's
I
what
don't
we're
even
looking
know.
for.
The boardroom buying game. Let's go. I'm going to start
right, let's
with a
go.
couple of softballs before I move on to some
Hardballs.
more like disturbing stuff. I'm gonna do this. I'll do two, and they're gonna be really nerdy governance boardroom buy-in game moments.
Yes.
Matternet appoints Starbucks EVP Sanjay Shah to board of directors. So Matternet is a company that makes drones, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, they commercial drone delivery systems for
Matternet
urban and
sounds-
suburban environments. I hate
Doesn't
that I have to say
sound-
that.
It sounds like a company like they like saw Terminator 2 and thought, oh well, they're like Skynet. Let's be Matternet or like.
Well,
doesn't seem
it's
like a
funny
mid-
you
90s
say that
company?
because I had the same feeling. Like it sounds like something that like boys would make. And upon research, the board is 5 men, boys, and the executives listed on the website are 3 or 4 boys. I couldn't find a woman because I mean, what woman would want an annoying drone hovering above their urban or suburban environment? Nobody would want that. I don't know
No.
why a man would want that, but here's what we're gonna do: in or out on this company based on the appointment of Starbucks EVP Sanjay Shah. And let me give you a quick amount of
What's
background.
his deal? Yeah, I don't know anything about this guy.
Because maybe I'm for once maybe this is a good thing. So the CEO and founder of this company has an MA in industrial design engineering, has a diploma in mechanical engineering. So there's some expertise
engineer.
there.
Yeah, okay. He
sits-
does the thing. He knows something.
Sits on the board. They also have
He can add.
they have a guy named Chris Dawson who got an MBA from INSEAD, which is the top business school in Paris, one of the top in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
They also
I
have
don't
a
care about
lawyer. They have a lawyer and another guy who has an MBA. But he's a lawyer, so I think that's probably why he's on the board. He's also named Sanjay. So they have 2 Sanjays at this point. Sanjay. Sanjay.
Look, if you had a bingo card of how many Sanjays you're going to find on any given board that isn't an Indian company, it was going to be a low probability.
Oh, it's a never in America.
Yeah, I've never
In fact,
seen it.
I mean, we always make the jokes like more Johns than women, but this is literally more Sanjays than women. I mean,
They
well,
did it.
There are no
finally.
women, so
they
yeah,
did, they did it. It was a low bar. You
Yeah.
needed one.
Because even 1 is more because you can't divide by 0. They have Lawrence Martin. He's a MD, a medical doctor. And then finally, they have a guy who is expertise in human resource and law. So how do you feel about adding a second Sanjay? Now, he has a BS in mechanical engineering. He's the chief supply officer at Starbucks. He has a background. He worked at Beyond Meat, Tesla, Amazon. I mean, maybe this is a good
not
ad.
selling me.
Maybe this is a good ad. I don't know. I mean, why not? I know this is a weird one to start off on, but I don't know. Come on.
All right, so let's start with this.
Yeah.
This is a classic. We see this pattern all the time. It is a classic way to consolidate power with your executive or your founder by having your founder be the only guy who has any sort of like direct experience in what the company does. They develop commercial
engineering.
drones.
Yeah.
And the only guy on the board with like engineering experience, which I imagine is useful for a commercial drone delivery company, is the CEO and founder. Do you think the guy who's an expert in polyamine metabolism and cancer research is weighing in on the drone delivery system in a way that's meaningful?
Unless they have him on the board because they're planning on like delivering drugs right into your mouth or something, right? Couldn't a drone do that?
The drone comes in and it shoots the drugs into your eyeball.
Up your nostrils or something, yeah. It is weird. That's why I was like, oh, well, maybe it's not a bad thing to have another person with mechanical engineering expertise and, I don't know, comes from some heavy hitter companies, right? Who, I don't know about Beyond Meat, but certainly
Sanjay
Tesla,
Shah,
Amazon. Although
Sanjay
GoPuff,
Shah-
what's GoPuff? He was the head of operations at GoPuff. I'm pretty sure that's like Cheetos. I don't get that one.
But this is where like the companies that they work at should be disassociated from the roles they had in that company. He worked at Tesla as a senior vice president, but he is an operating officer. His role at Starbucks is supply chain, which means
could be good.
He was responsible in like for Amazon for like basic ops, supply chain logistics. That's okay for building drones, but it's not exactly building the drones. It's just sort of the logistics of it.
But
I think he's going to be useful. I'm not saying he's not useful.
I mean, they already have 3 MBAs. Why not have this guy?
I'm not saying he's not useful. I am saying that like he's not exactly going to sit there and challenge the CEO, is he? He's not even a CEO.
That's true. The part that bothered me is that coming from places like Amazon and Tesla and Starbucks, where it's a very heavy at the top, right? That I thought maybe that's not so good. Maybe that's deferential, but still, come on. I'm looking for an in based on some nerdiness. Are you in or out?
No, I'm out. You can't find a single woman with an engineering degree to put on the board.
Fair point.
You can't.
Fair point.
You got a second Sanjay. That's what you got.
I was worried that the second Sanjay and no women involved with this company at all would dissuade you. All right. Okay. So I'll move on to one more, keeping it nerdy, and then you can do one. Aeon. Aeon makes heating, air conditioning, that kind of nonsense. Aeon increases board size, appoints 2 dudes. Bob Buttermore III, great name, of course.
I'm already out.
And Pat Germain. Now, the reason why this one struck me is like we're seeing a lot of this now. So this company only had 2 women on the board, despite having 9 directors. Now they have 11 directors and still only 2 women. This is the new anti-DEI world that we live in, right? So any woman now is considered, I guess, like diversity. They don't even bother to hire smart women, even though we know the world is full of smart women. But so I was like, okay, well, let's be fair. I mean, let's look at Bob Buttermore and Germain and see if they're good fits here. So based on Bob Buttermore III, you might like this guy, in or out. He has a BS in mechanical engineering. Not bad for a company that manufactures like heating and AC stuff. He was the chief supply chain officer of Rockwell Automation. So I don't know, right? Come on.
Yeah. Well, so you're trying to push me away from the fact that like they added 2 board seats and in doing so diluted all the women.
Okay,
like they could only find 2 men. There's only men available.
Well, let me tell you about the other guy, and maybe you can just make a big decision based on this. Maybe you'd pick both, maybe neither, maybe one. But here's the other one: Patrick Germain, NBA, former CFO of Plexus, according to Free Flow Analytics, that 100% of the board has management. What's it called? Background in management? No, do I have that wrong?
Administration and
Administration
management,
and management. Yeah, my cut and paste skills suck. They on the board. They already have one woman who was a former CFO. They have another MBA. They have another MBA who worked at a bank. So I thought, I don't know.
Okay, the thing,
Help me out.
the things you are leaving out here is that it is a structurally deferential company with Norman Asbjornson or Asbjornson,
Yeah.
who has 70% of the influence almost. Like this is a one dude company.
I think I missed that point. Yeah.
So
why have a big board at all?
So
Yeah.
so what do I need any of these people for? So that's even a better argument for having more women, because if you're just not going to listen to the board and you're going to hand choose them and you have all the power, yeah, put whoever you want on the board. Put a couple of women, put a couple of black people. It'd be great. Everybody can,
Except where it gets interesting is, well, first of all, the women on this board are stellar. Angela Coupland is an all-star. Her batting average is .791, and Karen Lawhon is a Hall of Famer. She hit .776.
Yeah, they're really good. Yeah.
Overall. So they're two really capable women. And the man that you just referred to, who has 70% influence, is 90 years old, according to the Free Flow Analytics. So, is this part of succession planning? I don't know. Are you in or out based on these board? What's going on here? Just come on.
I'm a hard out. I won't buy any board
fine.
that's
Okay.
controlled, especially by a guy who's been there
He's
for
90.
38 years and he's 90. That's not good. Like according to the map, the
dangerous.
network map in this company, the Scott Asbjornson or whatever is actually the connective tissue to Karen Lawhorn and to Chip McElroy.
Who's Scott? His son?
Scott is his son,
Oh.
has a family relationship with Norman, and he sits on the Tulsa Regional Chamber of Commerce with two of the board members.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean,
interesting.
Come on. This
All
is not a real board.
Oh,
This
that
is
was
a
my
fictitious
attempt at some
board.
nerdy governance stuff. Give me one. We'll go back
All right,
and forth
I'm going to
now.
show you one now. This is
Yeah.
how it should be done. Okay.
Okay.
In or out. This is the headline. Your AI strategy isn't failing because of bad design. It's because your team doesn't believe in you. That's the headline. This headline was a Fortune, Owen Fitzpatrick, a psychologist or something. This is what he wrote about himself. He's traveled to more than 100 countries. Are there more than 100 countries?
Who cares?
And studied propaganda firsthand in places like North Korea, Rwanda, Afghanistan. He's worked with leaders at Google, LinkedIn, Pfizer, and Coca-Cola. So why doesn't he study the propaganda coming out of Google, LinkedIn, Pfizer, and Coca-Cola?
Or just out of our own federal government? Why does he have to go to Afghanistan for that? He's just a show off.
He's author of 10 books, and he wrote this op-ed that basically says most AI strategies, the strategy isn't the problem. The problem isn't your technology.
Your workers hate you?
The problem is that by the time you get in front of your workers and tell them, they're already decided that they're not going to do it. They don't believe in you is the problem. That's his premise.
Yeah, and let's not forget that there's a lot of negative sentiment around it. There's already been layoffs attributed to AI, and as a Jensen Wang put it well, stop telling people that let's pretend it's good. Like, let's stop admitting all the faults of it. Let's stop telling people. Right? Remember he said, let's paint a rosy picture here. So
yeah, that's
all right. So I don't
right.
understand. What am I doing here?
So now here's the in or out round.
Let's go.
This is I'm going to read just the names of people who have announced AI strategies.
Am I in or out on the company? You mean?
And you're going to say, are you buying are you buying them and the company and the AI strategy because they're the messenger?
Let's go.
Or are you selling?
Let's do it.
Easy one first. Ready? Mark Zuckerberg.
Well,
all in, baby. He's firing everybody. He's spending $130 billion on AI again.
Didn't he just
on
do that on
another
Meta?
thing.
Yeah.
He's constantly doing
Well, that's
that.
an easy out. What do you else
Okay,
have?
so there's an out. So Mark Zuckerberg gets in front of everybody. He says we have a new AI strategy, and you before he even says strategy, you're already like, no, hard out. Okay.
I'm sure the workers feel the same way. Go ahead. What's next?
What about Jamie Dimon?
Yeah,
Jamie Dimon, he's been much more like he's not
middle
like
of the road.
Yeah, he's like a middle of the roady guy, but he did say AI is we're going to do a total redeployment
What does that
because of AI. Well, he announced that he simultaneously has said we've cut 2,000 people because of AI, and said no one's cutting people because of AI, like in the same
Yeah.
conference. But when Jamie Dimon says it, you buying or are you selling on Jamie Dimon's AI version?
I mean, I hate to sound all like Mad Money, Jim Cramery, but it's hard for me to. I don't know. It's hard for me to be against. I might be morally and ethically against Jamie Dimon, but he seems to know what he's doing at
That's
that.
a buy. You're
at that
buying.
bank.
You buying Jamie Dimon. There it is.
Look, he's not a knee jerk guy like these other schmoes. He's not just like jumping on something because he can't figure out other problems, which I'm sure you're going to present to me on this list. He seems like someone who's going to sensibly figure this out, as opposed to like working at Cracker Barrel as the new CEO and deciding let's use AI to help like make our tater tots crunchier or something.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so first of all, that's a good segue into
What's next?
not as big names. Ready?
Yeah, exactly.
Bill Brown, the CEO of 3M.
Yeah, see, this worries me more.
So 3M announced Ask 3M,
Seriously?
which is a product innovation tool where they discuss
No.
customers can discuss their ideas with AI chatbot
I'm
and
out
get
on
the
that.
ideas that they can then build.
That sounds
kind of thing.
that sounds like desperation.
All right, so that sounds like the dopey version, right?
Not to mention that like LinkedIn I don't know if they just sent me an email or I saw a news article like they want their users to report all the AI slop. It's like, no, do
Isn't
your
that
own
your
job.
jackass?
Yeah, you guys make a lot of money. You just do your job. Hire some people and do your job.
All right, here's one, and I'm curious what you're gonna think about this. Kelly Ortberg,
Oh yeah,
CEO of Boeing.
yeah. We know a
Now-
lot about Boeing.
We know a lot about Boeing. Boeing actually, this is like a strange place to be, because I'm asking whether you're going to buy Boeing and Kelly Ortberg, their strategy on
Go ahead.
AI. They announced AI intelligence that they're using inside. Mostly what they're doing with it is to enhance spec drawings and for slight productivity. But Ortberg has actually come out and said, we're not going to go deep on AI because we need to focus on turning this company around and safety and productivity, and we can't be focused on building out a whole new thing that we could be throwing money away.
Okay, based on that sentiment, I'm in. But based on the first one, I don't want any company that's putting airplanes in the sky relying on AI for anything. Maybe in 10 years, but I don't trust it.
It was a little bit funny when I looked it up. They showed a picture of a spec sheet that was done by an engineer, and it was like slightly faded. And then they just used AI to basically
make the lines
make
crisper.
the contrast higher.
Even that worries
me.
Even that worries me. I keep a map in my house. I made a few weeks ago. I had Gemini, because Gemini is owned by Google, and they have Google Maps, which is a great system. It's a great GPS, whatever it's called. It's a great. I mean, Google Maps is great. Everyone knows this, right? So I asked Gemini to create some like walking paths for me in my neighborhood when I take my dog for a walk. Because I wanted it to be an exact length. So I was just like, give me some different options, and they sent me back a map that was completely made up. I live on Berkeley Street, right? There was 15 Berkeley Streets on the map, and the map.
They don't use Google
and
Maps
the map
when
didn't
they do it.
resemble
It's not integrated.
the map didn't resemble my neighborhood at all. They changed the whole layout. There was made up names of things.
I really don't think there's they're using. I don't think they
Well, they
use
should
Google
use Google
Maps
Maps.
with the AI. No.
So
All right,
I
here's my
don't
last
trust it.
one.
All right, go
Here's my
ahead.
last one
Yeah.
in this semi-speed
ahead.
round. Brian Cornell, the
Ooh.
Target, not CEO, but actual CEO.
Yeah.
Buying or selling. Here's one bullet
Selling.
point from the announcement they made at the end of 2025. This is a quote. Quote, using data and technology in new ways. This is their AI strategy. Using data and technology in new ways to strengthen inventory planning, improve in-store consistency, and enhance guest interactions.
Enhanced guest interactions. That's a huge out.
Isn't that a huge out? That's like an immediate out when you say something as vague as "we'll make the customers happy."
I don't get Target. First of all, I don't know how the hell how are investors like believing in this company for keeping Brian Cornell around? How are they not like rebelling against this schmo still being there? But second of all, you have a very folksy cousin in your industry called Costco that leans really into like the people stuff.
The people, yeah, people are like a thing.
Like they're really into paying their people. They're really into like kissing the customer's butt and doing nice things for them and listening to them and giving them cheap hot dogs. Why don't you just do that, Target? Why don't you just be nice to people? I mean, AI, what is it? Enhanced guest interactions
Enhanced
with AI?
guest interactions with AI.
That's horrible. Horrible, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out. All right.
So then, to summarize that first one, if you are looking to buy AI, this is the point of this. If you're looking to like buy AI, everyone like goes and buys Nvidia stock or like Meta stock or the like AI adjacent companies, the data center stock. But you actually can buy AI strategies at regular companies. And if you're going to do that, Damien says, don't buy Zuck, don't buy 3M, Bill Brown, don't buy Target and Brian Cornell. Do buy Jamie Dimon and do buy Boeing. Because
I feel embarrassed, but I did say that, yeah.
You did say that. So, all right. You do another one.
All right. My next one is less nerdy, more serious. And I don't know if I'm just trying to wedge this story in here or not. Because, again, I don't really understand this game, even though I created it. So, In-N-Out game, based on this disturbing headline from the New York Times this morning. I think it came out this morning, yeah. Uber's strategy for fighting sexual assault suits. What were you wearing? Okay, so this is referring to the...
that's...
Yeah, so this is...
Can I already be out? I'm not sure what I'm going to be in on.
Of course, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a wrinkle on this subject, but of course, and go just, don't listen to my summary. I'm not even going to bother summarizing it. Just go read the article. But in a nutshell, they're saying that the legal team at Uber was ultra aggressive in like shaming the victims and blaming the victims. And that's clearly what they're, and this is based on a lot of a big investigation, including looking at a lot of court cases. So here's how I'm going to play the game. In or out, based on the board itself. Okay, so what I did is I looked at two skills that the board highlights as being important. One was called consumer. I'm trying to find anything.
This is like their skills matrix?
Yes. And I was trying to find anything that points to the customer, to like taking care of the customer, right? And it was hard to find, but I found two that maybe could do that. Consumer and digital experience, a background in the development and improvement of consumer experiences with a company's products, services, and brand, including through a digital interface. I don't know what any of that means. And the other one is sustainability and human capital management, experience in corporate responsibility, human capital management, and managing sustainable initiatives. I don't really know what that means either. I guess it's like ESG-ish stuff. I don't really know.
Isn't that supposed to be how do we keep our the gig workers from
happy?
being employees? Like, how do we keep them
Yes.
from being employees, right? That's all that is.
But it says experience in corporate responsibility. If you're being sued for sexual assault, wouldn't that be... Anyway, so I thought these are pretty specific skill sets, so there can't be many people, right? Because this is like, this is some serious stuff at a company like Uber. But I found that 7 directors are listed as skills in both categories. Both. And let me just quickly tell you who these people are. I'm just going to go last name only here. Aurora. He was a CEO. He's the CEO of Palo Alto Networks. That's cybersecurity, and worked at SoftBank. How does that? How? I don't understand. Ursula Burns.
SoftBank gave him a lot of money. That's how.
Ursula Burns. She's the former CEO chair of Xerox. She's an investor in tech now. We have 2 partners at PE firms, Eckert and Ginsberg. I don't really know how that qualifies. We have the CEO, Dara. He was the former CEO at Expedia. I don't know how he's going to help. We have your favorite, Ron Sugar, who's the former CEO of a war company, Northrop Grumman. I don't know how that helps. And then finally, we have
bomb your customers.
Winans. He's the former CEO of a life insurance company. I don't know how any of these people are going to represent the side of women being assaulted. And this has been going on for years. I mean, are you in or out on this board as having the skill set to represent consumers in any way possible, in or out?
I like that you're asking me the question.
I don't know. I'm trying to play the game here.
I mean, this is so obviously no one. Like, no, not to mention the fact that you named how many women in that list: Ginsburg and Burns,
yes,
and they have what combined influence? They have 20% combined influence next to the rest of the people on the board. Dara has 23 and Sugar has 16%. Eckert has 12, right? So what we're really saying here is that women on this board don't have any power.
But they also don't have but even if just because they're women isn't the whole story, though, because they don't have any expertise in this area.
Yeah, that's
right?
The next part. Not only do they not have any power, even if they did, they're not really suited or qualified by way of professional experience to deal with constant assaults in Uber cars.
Absolutely. Even though
it's a lose-lose. I'm hard out.
So now let's focus on Chief Legal Officer Tony West. So he, of course, I can't believe he even did this. Honestly, I mean, I hope we're on the verge of CEO Dara getting fired and the board getting voted out.
I'm gonna go with a hard no on that.
Yeah, I know. Because we seem to be the only one who
we
read headlines about this horrible headline in the New York Times, which I'm sure most of the people in America who read the New York Times are going to be equally horrified at. Right? It's that damning of a story, and we're somehow the only ones who immediately think, okay, who's responsible for this? Who do we go after? Right? We don't just wring our hands and say, oh, Uber sucks. I mean, right? There are people involved with these decisions. But anyway, Chief Legal Officer Tony West puts out he actually put out a blog post, a press release in the Uber newsroom called "Why Safety is Personal to Me." Right? Clearly in response to this New York Times piece. I mean, this is a doozy of a blog piece. So, first, he basically spends the first third of I'm just going to say, are you in or out on Chief Legal Officer Tony West? I'm going to give you some background on this blog piece. He spends the first third reciting his resume, saying, he used to prosecute child exploitation. He did pro bono work for domestic violence survivors. He oversaw the Office on Violence Against Women under Obama. And he says, quote, "I would never support or condone conduct inside or outside a courtroom that fails to treat women and survivors with dignity and respect based on that background."
Yeah.
But how is that proof of anything? Your resume can't be proof that you wouldn't do it. And let's not forget that he was the chief architect of the Prop 22 in California, which was trying to call all employees at Uber, right, gig workers.
I think this is like a Facebook situation, right? Where if you work for this company, I don't care if you work in the mailroom,
quit.
Do you have no standards of what your employer should do?
I guess not. I'm going to keep going to Tony West because I just want to tell you what Tony West said. These are people who use Uber or invest in Uber. Maybe it's time to switch or vote out the entire board. He also said, he said, quote, I'll be the first to say that our adversarial legal system can be particularly tough for
Oh, yeah.
survivors
It's
by
probably
its
China's
nature.
fault, too.
By
It's
its
gotta be
nature.
China.
He
Where's
said
China?
this. By its nature, the trial process is designed to extract facts, and this is in public view, which makes it very difficult. So he blames the system. He blamed the system for forcing his own legal team to shame the victim. I mean, I can't believe he wrote this stuff, but he did. He also cherry picks one favorable moment. He found one single judge from a trial in February that praised Uber's attorneys, saying that they did not engage in, quote, the slightest bit of shaming, end quote.
Oh, yeah.
And that he wanted it, quote, to clear. He wanted that to be on the record. But Tony, that doesn't, one quote from one judge.
Are we celebrating that you didn't shame someone? That's what you want to be clear. The one time you didn't shame someone is what you want to be clear that we recognize.
How about Tony?
The
Go
fact
ahead.
that you're celebrating that is already a problem.
Horrible. How about Tony bullshitting the bigger picture? He says, quote, Uber was among the first companies to end forced arbitration and mandatory confidentiality agreements in matters involving sexual assault and sexual harassment. Yes, that's true. But they ended individual forced arbitration. They did do that, but they fought ruthlessly to ensure survivors still cannot form class action lawsuits. So
Good.
they can't do class action lawsuits. So you're putting the burden on each victim to mount a legal challenge against Uber, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how I don't know how
Against
that's possible.
that guy who runs Uber Law.
And finally, he lied about the ESG data. He said, quote, Uber was also the first companies to voluntarily, consistently publish data on the reports of sexual assault. But the Times revealed that they hid hundreds of thousands of complaints by categorizing them as unaudited or less serious. That's Uber's words. So while Uber publicly reported a few thousand incidents, this is his team, internal documents revealed by the Times show that they received over 400,000 reports of sexual assault or misconduct between the 2017 and 2022. So this guy, he's coming out defending this with a blog post. So to your point, I know you're out, and I think you summed it up best by saying how is anyone still in on this company at all? How are you not laying down your sword, quitting, giving up, divesting, voting out the board?
Look, that's the way these companies change. These companies don't change because, like the New York Times writes a headline about how horrible they are. They change when people actually do something different. Whether it's the employee leaving or the investor voting out the board or the CEO not getting paid, something has to happen for the company to care.
But I will praise the New York Times here because it's a great impetus to care, right? I mean, so I don't know. I know this doesn't really qualify for this game because clearly you're out, but maybe I just needed to get this story into the show. But it sounds like you're out on Uber.
Yeah, I'm a hard out. Are you kidding me? I'm definitely out. How many more do you have? Are we going every other now?
Yeah, you take one.
All right, I'll do one. I'm going to do this one first.
The rest of mine are shorter, by the way.
I have one really short one, and then one built off of you
Go ahead.
mentioned something. So I'm going to do this one. The headline was Starbucks CEO earns 1,794 times more than the average worker. Here's why he's paid $31 million.
Well, before you launch into this, I will congratulate. Why do I always forget his name? Brian
Nickel.
Because last year he made 6,666 times. I'm not kidding. Times the average worker. So he's
But
actually gone down.
because they paid him a $96 million
Don't care.
golden hello.
Still money.
They didn't keep it the same. All right.
Go ahead.
This is what I thought was interesting about the headline and gave me an in and out because it says here's why he's paid.
Yeah, I love
$31
this.
million.
Who wrote this, by the way? Is this an
So
opinion
this
piece?
is IBI Times or whatever. Or IB Times.
This is out of the UK.
Yes, which they have a lot of great headline writers there. We tag a lot of their headlines, even though their stories are the same as other stories we read. They just do a good job with their headlines because they add a line like, "Here's why."
Here's
he paid
why.
$31 million.
Yeah.
So So I want in or out on why he's paid 31 million. This isn't he's paid 31 million. That's egregious. This is, are you in or out on the following arguments for why he might be paid that? Right.
Okay. And
Number one,
I'm looking at the background of this journalist, and clearly he has no expertise in this area. But nonetheless, go
it
ahead.
doesn't matter. He wrote a good
Yeah.
headline, and we can use it.
Yeah.
Number one, the turnaround strategy. Brian Niccol came in to turn around Starbucks. The turnaround strategy is working. Brian Niccol made more than any other restaurant CEO per share. The stock is up. It's like the foot traffic is up. They closed some stores. They've started to do the things like, put the couches back in and try to make it a little less sterile. Like it was like it was you mobile order and they'd throw you your coffee like as you walked by, and they wanted nothing to do with you. The baristas were exhausted. So he's doing some stuff that's actually working. That's number one. Okay.
Sure. I guess in the short term, I'll believe that.
Number two.
So it was. I'm looking at the. Yeah. I mean, but to be fair, I mean, it was a sexy hire in the sense that people seem to love Chipotle, and things were going so poorly under Laxman Seaman that the market, it seemed like they would have reacted positively to anyone. So I don't know if that's what this bounce is about, but go ahead, keep going.
All right, number two. Well, so I'm going to give you arguments for in and out. Number two, the Starbucks Pay Committee is an absolute mess of overpaying interconnected directors. Rich Allison is the chair. He bats 249 on CEO pay ratio. Andy Campion bats 0.041. Mike Sievert 0.067. Neil Mohan 0.031. That's literally some of the highest paying directors on a CEO pay ratio basis in our entire database. And that's not like a 1 year sample. There's a minimum of 3 years and 2 boards. So these are people who do it in multiple places.
Yeah.
They just love to pay the CEOs wherever they go. So obviously he earns 31 million because they don't give a shit how much he earns. They're just going to pay him 31 million. The question here's why he's paid that is because the people on the pay committee gave it to him. That's it. It doesn't have anything to do with anything otherwise.
Yeah, because he made, what did you say? He made 98 million last year?
96 million as his golden hello from
and
these
30,
people.
And 31 million this year. And I can't believe I'm even saying this, but even 20 million for each year would have been enough. And they would have saved $80 million.
The article does make the point of saying that the next highest paid, restaurant CEO, Chris Kempczinski from McDonald's, made like 20 million. So he's already like 50% more than the next highest paid. And these are summary comp numbers. These aren't realized comp numbers, meaning this is what they write down that they're valuing the pay at. But when he actually sells the stock that they're giving him, as like most of it is long-term stock, right? When they actually sell the stock, it's worth way more than that, just if it keeps up with the market. He doesn't have to do better than the market. He'll get paid way more. So number two, it's just the Starbucks Pay Committee. Number three, all the execs make a lot of money. In fact, there was an article, it's on the Free Flow Analytics platform now. If you go to the Starbucks page and you go all the way down to the bottom, there's an article there that says not only did Brian Niccol make a lot, but all the bosses got paid a lot. Isn't it a good sign when all the bosses are getting paid? It means that it's not like they're paying the one guy. They're paying a whole team and they're making money. The stores are making money. They can afford to spread some around to the other executives too.
All right.
That could be a good sign. So he got paid 31 million because
what about
they're
the
making
baristas?
it and everyone's getting it.
What happened to the workers' struggle though?
Oh, well, let's go to them.
All right.
Not everyone is making money.
No.
The bosses are making money. Number four, Starbucks actually regressed its offer to the union. They just sued them for using the Starbucks logo as part of their union.
They sued the union?
They sued the union for
Wow.
trademark infringement for using the Starbucks logo. It's
Wait.
the Starbucks union.
Yeah, wouldn't they be allowed to use the logo?
No, it's trademarked by
Well,
the
we don't know what
corporation.
we don't know what the results of the law case will be. Although we know how powerful the legal team must be at Starbucks.
Well, they probably are hiring Uber's legal team,
Yeah,
so
ugh,
they
yeah.
probably won't smear the union. They won't shame them even a little bit. But remember, Nickel refused to negotiate with them when he started, and he actually excluded them from the bonus pool. Didn't he announce like we're going to pay all these bonuses to baristas, but sorry, we can't pay it to the union
Yeah,
because
which sounds
we
a
have to
bit like
negotiate with you guys. Sorry.
yeah, which sounds like blackmail to get you to drop out of the union, basically.
That's right.
Like
so
financial
so,
blackmail. Yeah.
So really, maybe part of the turnaround strategy has been fucking the union as much as possible, not so much making all the money. And then finally, fifth, another reason to be in or out. The stock is up 20%, 15% in the last year. It's beating the S&P slightly. The stock is up.
That's
So
it, though.
Pay the man.
But
Pay
that's
the
it.
man.
But that's it. That's why everyone's calling this a success story, right? Because they, after a bunch of bad succession planning and Howard Schultz can't quit and he was dominating the company, they found someone from a company that people love because people love tacos and burritos, and now the market is happy. That's it. That's it. That's how we justify paying a CEO a lot of money, right? And not to mention that my first point out of all this, when you said the turnaround strategy is working, yeah, in the short term, in the very short term, sure, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, it was all credit to Howard Schultz. He's the one who addicted all the drug users who come to Starbucks every day in the drive-through and get their. So
Yeah.
I don't know how. Anyway, I don't. What am I saying here? In and out.
So
of
are
what?
you in or out
On what?
on Brian Nickel? The reasons why he got paid $31 million. Are you saying that like
Oh, I'm out.
any
Far out.
Well, pick one. Which one are you the most in or the most out on?
Well, and I would hope
What's
that
pushing
people
you out? What's pushing you in?
and I would hope that the people, because I think that generally speaking, Starbucks drinkers are pretty middle class, lower middle class. I would think that, like me, they would be upset that this ongoing labor struggle is like entering its like 19th year. I mean, figure this out. I'm out based on that. Like they keep kicking the can down the road. Now they're humiliating them by withholding bonuses and suing the union. It's humiliating.
Yeah. All right. That's a good reason to be out.
Now I see you have a Elon Musk headline, so I'll get to my Elon Musk headline. It's a bit tangential, but it's still about Elon Musk. Jefferies ESG chief says investors overstate SpaceX governance risks. So this is Aniket Shah. He says people who try to put governance into some kind of straitjacket are too simple-minded and, frankly speaking, not looking at data. That's the key. That's the key there. So he's basically calling people like us out and saying you're stupid. He said also there's no acceptable form of good governance. He said like that's not a real thing, which is I got to scratch my head on that one. But so I mean, what's the point of anything really, Aniket Shah? But so based on this, he's saying that you're being too simple-minded by not praising Elon Musk. Are you now in or out on SpaceX? Did he change your mind?
No.
Okay, one more. Go
Okay.
ahead. One more for SpaceX.
Yeah, just
Bill
do the next
Ackman
one.
says, this is a great headline. I love this headline. Bill Ackman says, never bet against Elon, even as he passes on SpaceX stock. So he's out. He's not investing.
Are you kidding? He's not going to buy the stock.
But he said, quote, never bet against Elon. So did Bill change your mind? Are you in or out on SpaceX? I know that's confusing on that one, but
No, Bill didn't change
Okay.
my mind.
So what do you
Let
have
me
on
just,
SpaceX?
I'm going to
Yeah.
add to this. Ready?
Go ahead.
Because here the headline is SpaceX's first ever earnings report comes with stock under pressure. So tonight,
Is it
the
out?
stock
Is it out?
it's not out yet. I think
Okay.
it's after the close. They'll release the results of the first earnings report for SpaceX, the first quarter. So straight up, in or out, buying SpaceX with it cheap, or are
Yeah.
you selling? Because the fact
Yeah.
is the stock is
Cheap.
cheaper than it was at the IPO.
cheaper.
It's cheaper.
It's not $2. Isn't it
so
still $100?
Here are reasons to buy, reasons to sell.
Yeah.
Elon Musk still runs it like an uncontrolled dictator with sycophants surrounding him.
I mean, even worse, he's basically trying to colonize space. I mean, that scares me.
like colonize space. He's trying to colonize Earth with
Well,
his,
that's true.
his
He's doing
semen
both.
too.
He's doing both,
the
yeah.
worst. He's the
Yeah.
worst. How about this as a reason? Aniket Shaw.
Yeah, well, I just
said-
mentioned him. Yeah, Jeffrey.
I know you
And
shouldn't be
Aniket
so
Shaw.
parochial. So
I know people in your network are listening, and I know you might be listening. Reach out to us because I love that you think we're not looking at the data. Reach out to us.
what his point was
Yeah.
was you shouldn't be parochial because you could miss a quote generational wealth
Could.
event.
You could miss.
He basically was saying if you were so, governista, which apparently is now a growing trend, the backlash against governistas. It's
Yeah.
Jeff Sonnenfeld, Aniket Shaw, like everybody hates a
Elon
good
Musk
governance person.
himself
Elon-
thinks that
yeah,
ESG
they all
people
hate
are the
us.
devil. Yeah.
He said, like, if you hadn't bought Facebook, you'd miss the 2,000% return. Or if you didn't buy Tesla because it was a
Wow.
shit show of governance, you would have
Yeah.
missed 27,000% returns.
Yeah.
First of all, no one bought Tesla 20 years ago and sat on it except for a small handful of people. And it looked like a horrible bet, period. Elon Musk didn't start Tesla. He turned it into a shit show, and he turned it into a meme stock, and that's how he made all his money.
Did Aniket, to be fair to Aniket Shaw, did he actually mention Facebook?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So, I mean, I bet you the return on things like human trafficking is pretty high. Why don't I get into that? I could make a lot of money on.
That's
No, but I'm
that's
serious,
where
like-
it kind of falls apart, right?
But scientists, academics, so many people now are saying like the ills caused by social media, by Zuckerberg, so bad that the CEOs of these companies themselves don't let their kids access it. So yeah, why don't I happen to know that the security guard at a bank near me sleeps a lot because he gets Wendy's every for lunch and he falls asleep. Why don't I rob that bank? That's a generational wealth event that I could hand it over to my kids.
Look, I think
Is that all
he
life
might,
is, Aniket Shaw? That's how all life is
I
to
think
you?
he would say you're being a little too simple-minded.
I'm being
you're not-
parochial.
The fact is, his argument is, you
Dumb.
should be willing to trade all your rights if the stock goes up. That's all
ethics
he's saying,
and
right?
morals. Yeah, sure.
Throw everything out the window. Have no because if you don't make the money, then you've missed a generational wealth event.
Well-
If you just bought the S&P 500, you wouldn't have made a whole bunch of money either. How much fucking money do you need?
Well, here's what pisses me off too. If we're going to talk about the Jefferies global head of sustainability, Aniket Shaw, and I know you're listening. And hi, Aniket. And you should
He's in my LinkedIn network.
and you should use our
I've
database
met him
because
before.
we have much
nice.
better data than you're accessing, Aniket, because we have proprietary data that the ESG world has never seen before. It's quite amazing. Kudos to the developers of the platform. Really genius stuff if you're into ESG data. But he said, quote, investors who rely on governance checklists alone risk overlooking companies capable of generating substantial long-term returns, particularly founder-led businesses that concentrate decision-making power in a single executive. Now, Aniket, do I have to tell you the long-term risks associated with that statement are they're through the I mean they're like bigger than Mars. You want me to long-term put everything into a company that relies on one single, especially someone as a lunatic like Elon Musk. How do I know where he's going to be in 2 years?
This is literally the Jeff Sonnenfeld argument.
But how do I know? How do I know what he's going to want to do with SpaceX in 2 years?
Here's the thing.
That's
I'll
ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous.
I'll say this about the data that we have, because he claimed that we're not looking at the data, except that we have all the data and we know nobody else has it. So we're the only ones looking at the data. The data we have around people actually suggests the exact opposite. Sure, you could make a lot of money on the stock. It is possible. But there are 25% of U.S. companies are totalitarian.
Yeah.
That means 1 in 4 U.S. companies, basically, you have fewer rights, and those companies are not generational wealth events.
No.
If I invested in just those companies, I would not get just generational wealth events constantly. In fact, I would get some of the worst outcomes I could possibly get, because those are the same companies that screw up huge swaths of humanity. that
course.
basically can be the absolute worst companies in terms of governance. They do all sorts of stuff like fraud. The fraud doesn't just happen at like the Enrons of the world, although that was a totalitarian company. Like
Sure.
that happens everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
so what are you talking about? Like the data actually suggests that people being deferential, that teams that are not like looking at risk adjusted returns over the long
And
term,
relying
in
on a
terms of boards,
single executive, as he says.
relying on
Decision-making-
one person,
Decision-making power in a single executive. Yeah.
that's
Well,
like
and-
religious thinking applied to
Yes,
capital
I'm glad
markets.
you said that. I'm glad you said that because Annika is lying to all of us by saying that we are not looking at the data, because actually we are looking at the data. He's not looking at the data because he's using his feelings. He's following like a religious path to people like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg because his feelings are telling him that. That's all. And good luck with all that, Annika. As if Elon abandons the company in 3 years, or if these the amount of lawsuits and parts of the world coming after Meta and Facebook and Zuck right now the challenge is rising. The defense is coming. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm out. I don't even know what you asked me. But
It
I'm
doesn't
out.
really matter. You're out.
Okay.
All right.
Finally, I'm going to wrap up on this. I have two quick ones, and you have one more, right?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got one more.
I have
Just
two
quick.
quick ones from Mark Zuckerberg. These are going to be easy. We're talking about Zuck. In or out, based on this headline. Quick one, because we got to wrap this up. Mark Zuckerberg says AI will create an infinite Instagram. He outlined a vision where AI generated content becomes a third major source of content. How in or out on that?
I'm not even on Instagram.
Annika.
I hate him so much.
Annika, what do you think, Annika? This could be a moment of generational wealth, right? I should support this, right? Because if I personally can get a little bit richer, I probably should support this maniac's vision of an infinite Instagram where people will never leave their phones again. I love it. Oh, or how about this one? One more in or out. In or out on the Chan Zuckerberg initiative based on this headline. Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan's school is the latest billionaire education experiment to collapse. So they're blaming a shift in the Chan Zuckerberg initiative's philanthropic priorities from social advocacy towards scientific philanthropy, right? But which is their way of saying we agree with Trump.
We got rid of the black people.
DEI
Yeah.
crap
Yeah.
and the black people, women is all stupid. Gay people are stupid. But here's the part here's why I picked the story. Because the hypocrisy it stinks. Chan, his wife, told the Wall Street Journal last year, and she's referring to the school, the outcomes just were not where the board would have wanted them to be. So she's saying that the board is
Board
out.
of Chan Zuckerberg.
Right, the board. So the irony here, because Zuckerberg doesn't have a board. It's all him. He has all the influence, all the voting power. But she's saying that the board said that the school sucked. So I know we promised hundreds of kids this free school, but we're going to close it because the board. I couldn't believe that.
Two of the members of the board are Chan and Zuckerberg.
Yeah. There you go.
But what are we even pretending? We're
I
pretending
it's-
that the board matters?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Aniket Shah, but some of us are a little bit nuanced in your approach to the world by making money. So what's your last one? I'm guessing you're out on the Chan Zuckerberg initiative
That
based
was
on
an
their
easy
board
out.
members.
Mine is an easy
All right.
out too.
Go ahead.
Here's the
Go ahead.
headline.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up with this.
Let's wrap up quickly.
Here's the headline. Meritocracy claims make managers pay men more than equally qualified women. In or out, men or women?
Yeah, I'm glad you flagged this, and I'm glad that the people who are reporting on this are covering this, because this is a very important headline that you just mentioned.
Well,
right?
so just so you know what the background is,
This is important.
It was an MIT study.
Yeah.
They actually got like a whole group of people, and they basically, had them pay bonuses to, two different companies. They set up an experiment where they were going to pay bonuses, and they did a man and a woman who had the exact same resumes. And what they found was when the program under which the bonus got paid said meritocracy, the men made $46 more than the women. When they took the word meritocracy out, the women made more money, and it was the exact same resume. So what they found was the word meritocracy is so embedded in our biased brains to be men are better. Yeah. That's all it means to humans. That's all it means.
I can't believe we're still fighting this. I mean, you refer to the story that happened. I think we were at State Street, right? We're talking about the Women on Boards report from MSCI, where some angry men were challenging, like, how do you prove that the women are going to be better for returns? And we simply said, look, well, how do you prove that the men are going to have better? And of course, they just stared at us like lemmings. How are we still fighting this? How are we still doing this?
I don't know. How are we still doing 20 years ago.
And it's not okay. And it's not okay that women are getting paid less based on this. It's simply not okay.
Free Float had a client that was asking. They said, we ride winners.
Yes, that was a big that was a big investment fund.
And that's like a meritocracy argument, right? Like the winners, like they earned it. We ride winners. That's how they choose stocks.
That's what Aniket Shah is saying. Like
our question was, how do you define a winner?
You can't.
What's a winner?
And the data won't get you there.
They were like, we just know them when we see them. Like, are you nuts?
Yeah, they know them. They know them when they see them.
That's why it's all boys. Yeah. That's why we know them when we see them.
They use their hindsight to know them when they see them. That's what they do.
Hey, we got it. So I'm gonna guess you're out on that.
I'm exhausted.
This
was
in on women.
This is an instructive show. I've learned a lot.
That's Hazelnut Rollins. I'm your analyst, Matt Viscardi. We are Free Float. We've got another show coming up on Friday, but after that, week off. You just got a week of silence. Maybe even 2 weeks.
When is this? Next week? Are you going to see the eclipse?
I'm going to see the eclipse. I'm going to be in Spain watching a total eclipse. Hopefully I don't get engulfed in climate change related fires.
Well, you will. And, I will say I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we'll see how it goes. If you want access to the Free Float Analytics
you do.
website, the beta platform, let us know. We'll even give you permissioned access, and you can test it for a while.
Aniket Shah, you need this.
With everything. Just let us know. Until then, good